Good evening, everyone. I said, good evening, everyone. There we are. My name is John Barnhill. I'm a proud member of the class of '92, and I serve as the Assistant Vice President for University Advancement here at Elon. And I got to tell you, this is one of those special days at Elon. Anytime you can have so many alums back on campus, especially to celebrate one another, this is a special day. I don't know if you were watching some of the screens during dinner, but at our table I could see people's faces lighting up behind me, and so I kept turning around. And those photos capture relationships. And I'm fortunate enough because I get to watch some of these relationships. And our alums' relationships with this university have grown exponentially in the last few years. One of the reasons is we're honoring those that are doing tremendous things in the world. And tonight we have that distinct pleasure to recognize 10 outstanding young alums. So I'm going to keep the program going. I'm going to serve as your MC. And we've got a lot of people to recognize. So I'm going to start us off. Coleman Rich, who has a graduate degree, 93, from Elon, is the senior lecturer in operations and supply chain management and chair of the Department of Marketing and Entrepreneurship. Please come to the podium and recognize Jay Young, class of 2008. Coleman.
I'm very honored tonight to have this opportunity. I've had the pleasure of having this young man in two of my classes. I always look forward to his smile, which you'll see a little later, and the banter from him and his fellow classmates after class. And he's got this unique quality of making you laugh and making your day brighter. He worked hard in the classroom, and at the same time, I also watched him work hard on the football field. Now watch this. This is how it comes back, and what he gave back to my class this past fall. So he comes back to my class, and he talks about two simple things: that you can get anything in your life that you want, anything in your career that you want, on hard work and discipline. And that's what he learned when he was at Elon. And I sat there, and I said, that is just great. And here's what happened. Never in the 10 years I've been here, never have I had all of my students wanting his contact information based on what he said. He said that he is proof of that. And here's why. When he graduated in 2008, he's had a very successful year with Wells Fargo Securities. He started as a credit manager in Atlanta, Georgia, and now, 6 years later, he is the business manager and chief operating officer for their middle market investment banking group. Let's think of that. He's accomplished that in 6 years. This group provides investment banking solutions to commercial banking and middle market clients. His team, he's got a team of 60 individuals there in 11 cities across the United States that he works with. He's a 4-time recipient of the Wells Fargo Shared Success Award, and he's an excellent role model for our students here at Elon. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present Mr. Jay Young.
Good evening, everyone. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Oh, man. This is such a great honor. I just want to start off with a couple of thank yous. I want to thank the Alumni Committee and the Young Alumni Council for selecting me for this award. Aliana Harrison, who actually nominated me for this award. That's a great honor, and I'm so excited just to be back on campus, to be around everyone. President Lambert, you guys keep changing everything. I don't know where anything is anymore. No, just driving around campus, brought back so many memories as I was in the car. Replaying the days that I was here, and it's just a great honor to be here. A couple things I just want to talk about, things I learned from Elon, as Coleman hit on: hard work and dedication, being a student athlete, that's one of the hardest feats to overcome while you're here at Elon, because it's a very rigorous curriculum, and you couple that with having to get up early every day and being in workouts, going to practice, participating in the games, film sessions. It kind of prepares you for life, to be quite honest. So there's really no long day that I've never encountered since I've been out of school, to be honest. Everything's a cakewalk now. So. But just a hard work and discipline. And like when I came back to Coleman's class, I kind of just very plain and simple hit on those notes, because there were a couple of athletes in that class. I used to be an athlete just like them. Sit there, maybe not pay as much attention, until somebody actually came and talked to me and said, you actually need to pay attention in these classes, because the things you learn in these classes are going to translate into life. A couple of things, Coach Rich Skrosky, I think the football team has adopted the mantra, embrace the grind. That's me every day. I go through life with the notion that no man or woman will ever outwork me. And that's kind of how I've kind of progressed in my life, and the people that know me around campus or know me in my professional career, they're attest to that. Just thinking back of, the attention to detail when I'm in football practice, I can still hear Coach Rich Skrosky screaming at me, because he was my position coach at the time. And I'm glad we have him back, by the way. I'm glad we have him back. He would just scream, Jay, attention to detail, attention to detail. And I didn't really get it at the time. I'm like, hey, I'm just trying to get through this drill without passing out, you know what I mean? But I can hear him right now. No, but it really translates into life now, because to be successful and to be promoted 4 times in 6 years within a big company like Wells Fargo, it is attention to detail. It's down to every email. I reread every email maybe 3-4 times before I send it out, because you never know who that's going to get forwarded to. That could end up in John Stump's hand for all you know. And you just want to be on point with everything you kind of do in life. With Elon, you guys, it's so much priceless, attributes that I've got from my time here that, I'm happy to come back to speak to Coleman's class. So I'm happy to have unofficial mentees that I have around campus, just from people reaching out to me on LinkedIn. Like if somebody reaches out to me, if you're an undergrad, I'm more than happy to help you out. There's a couple people right now I'm actually working with to, break into the middle market or investment banking industry right now. Just being at Elon has just been a great thing. I'm just, so excited to be selected, and with my fellow alumni, to be one of the top 10 graduates that you guys have this year. Go Phoenix.
Please join me in welcoming to the podium Scott Leedy, the Young Alumni Council Vice President, who will be introducing Mark Bender. Come on up, Scott.
Thanks, John. My name is Scott Leedy. I have the opportunity and the honor of serving as the Vice President of the Young Alumni Council, and Dr. Mark Bender couldn't be here tonight, so please enjoy this video tribute in his honor.
Hey everybody at Elon, my name is Mark Bender. Hopefully I've been introduced by now. I want to start this off by thanking the girls over in the admissions committee for trying to get me to the event. I really appreciate it. Unfortunately, this is the first week I've started to open a business in Michigan, and we're just starting now. So things are a little hectic to say the least, but thank you anyway. So to try to remember the 4 years of college in 2 minutes is pretty tough, but I'll try my best. A couple of the things that really stood out to me, especially during the first years, was living in Coakley, living in the dorms. That was an amazing experience. Going to Hardin every single Sunday and eating until we couldn't walk was always a good time. And really living in the Greek courts my junior year, I was the house manager of the Sigma Chi fraternity, and I should probably take this opportunity now to apologize to Melissa. Sorry for all the chocolate syrup on the walls. I didn't mean it. So hopefully you're over that by now. So, really the thing that really stood out to me at Elon during my experiences, one of the most seminal moments was during my winter term trip. We got to go to Western Europe and see most of the countries in Western Europe through a World War I trip with Tom Nelson, and the whole experience was just amazing. He made us swim in the Normandy ocean, basically in the middle of winter. That wasn't so fun, but pretty amazing afterwards. But really just getting out and traveling as an adult and seeing the world and kind of opening yourself to those experiences has really changed my life. Since that period of time, I've gone on 2 Doctors Without Borders trips to Fiji and the Dominican, and in medical school I've already committed to creating a sustainable hospital in Honduras this next coming year. So that's exciting and something I look forward to, and something I can kind of thank Elon for. So in closing, I would like to thank the chemistry department for helping me get through this, especially John Riley, Eugene Grimley, and the late Dr. Eugene Gooch. Thank you guys for being lenient as far as when my papers were not exactly on time. I really appreciated that. It kind of helped me get through it, and although chemistry wasn't my favorite subject, it did help me get into medical school, so thank you for that. So in closing, although I'm not quite ready to spend my whole paycheck on donations, I hope that one day I can give back to Elon even a fraction of what it has given me. So thank you guys very much, and at least one person has to have a drink of West End for me tonight, so thanks guys, I appreciate it.
Make sure that he gets his award. That was wonderful. I now would like to welcome Linda Lashendock, who is our video archivist in technology. She will be introducing David Douglas. Linda?
Good evening, everyone. It is a great pleasure to see so many of you here tonight honoring our Elon Top 10 Under 10 Alumni Award Ceremony and individuals, including my favorite, David Douglas. What can I say about David? I met David 10 years ago as I joined Elon, and David was a freshman, and he was the broadcast major in the School of Communications, and he was the executive producer, as I call him, the energized news junkie, and of Phoenix 14 News. His passion and enthusiasm made this show an award-winning show for the first time for Elon University. It's because of David and his team and his enthusiasm. David's enthusiasm and leadership has prepared us, and I would like you to review David's promo for Phoenix 14 News.
Occasionally, you'll see me on the air reporting, but most of the time, I'm working behind the camera with our dedicated staff to bring you live, investigative, in-depth news coverage. What is live, investigative, in-depth? It's our promise to you. A promise to bring you coverage of news when it happens, whenever possible. A promise to bring you a live weekly newscast. A newscast that goes beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of a problem. Not just spotlighting a problem, but searching for its solutions. Might be a college newscast, but it's not just that. It's your newscast. We work for you. And if you don't think we're doing that job, for whatever reason, I want you to let me know. Email me, David Douglas, personally. It's time for a new generation in college news. It's time for Phoenix 14 News.
Because of that video, David Douglas has had several positions, many awards. Okay, he's had a couple Earl R. Murrow Awards in the last 10 years. Okay, 4 of them, Emmys. But today, David is a senior producer with Al Jazeera America, working with correspondents, camera people, lighting people, fellow producers, and covering big, big stories all across the Midwest and across the country. As I said earlier, David is a news junkie. David Douglas, on the behalf of everyone here in this room and myself, I want to say thank you for being the man of action that you were at Elon and are today in your company and telling the real stories for us as television viewers. You, David, got Phoenix 14 News started, rallied many people together, and completed this ongoing Elon student television newscast today. This will never have happened without you and your continued success at Al Jazeera. Please join me in giving David Douglas a round of applause and a huge top 10 under 10 alumni awards. Thank you. Love you, my friend.
So I don't know if y'all heard that song, Eye of the Tiger by Survivor. That's actually for Linda, because when Linda got to Elon, she was a couple weeks into being here, and she said, next week you're gonna make this a live newscast. And I said, lady, you're crazy. We're not ready for that. But Linda had a boss when she was at CNN. She was at CNN for 20 years, from the time it was the chicken noodle news network that nobody thought could be anything, to the dominant force that it is today. And that relates personally for me working for Al Jazeera America, a network that people don't necessarily understand or know what it's all about. And we're here to teach them every day that we're about real news, fact-based journalism, and removing bias from what people have seen on television for a long time and returning a real sense of reporting with real integrity. And that's a lot of fun, and there's a parallel for me there. Ever since I was really little, I dreamed these kind of Don Quixote-sized dreams. And my mom would say to me, honey, first you have to row a little boat. And I would get so annoyed when she said that. And when I got to Elon and I got into the studio, there were things that weren't there. There were technical things that we couldn't do that we wanted to do. And we had to get really creative to pull off the things that we wanted to try. And for years and years and years, she's continued to say, first you have to row a little boat. And in October of last year, I walked into our studio in New York on 34th Street at Al Jazeera. And if you see it on television, it looks like the floor is made of stainless steel. It's actually vinyl. And there's a video wall that wraps all the way around the back side of the studio, and there are 11 cameras in there. There's a jib. I mean, we have it all. And I thought, okay, this is what that was all about. First, you have to row a little boat. And so thank you, Mom, for teaching me I had to get there and appreciate it when the time finally came, because if you had it all in the beginning, it wouldn't make any difference when you had it later. Elon is a tremendous place. It's a special place to me and to all of us. But the reason I came to Elon is because when I visited, they said, if they don't have it here, you can make it. And maybe that sounds really obnoxious to say, considering what we came here and we did together. But there were just a lot of great people who happened to be here all at the right time with really unique and different talents that all wanted the same thing that we wanted together. And one of those people that was in our orbit was PJ Buckley, a good friend of mine whose mom is here tonight. And PJ's no longer with us, but he is a remarkably talented man. And he did all the graphics and all the art that made our show look like it was a major market newscast. And when we would take the tapes places, people would say, how did you get those graphics? Who'd you pay for those? And we'd say, no, we made those ourselves. And this is just a really, and I just want to thank you. I just want to honor PJ. Very, very special guy. And for everyone who's ever had anything to do with my life, Lisa Williams, who is a teacher I had in high school and I now consider a really dear friend. We sat in a hotel earlier today and had just a great chat. This is what I tell people all the time, is that you have to learn to write to have any kind of success in life. And you taught me how to do that really, 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 really well. And I think you also taught me how to be a better person, and I thank you for that. So to everyone at Elon and everyone throughout my life who's helped me get where I am, thank you. And I need you all to do one thing for me. When you leave tonight, if you haven't already, I need you to go to aljazeera.com. I need you to type your zip code into the box at the top of the website, hit go, and it's going to tell you how you can watch our network. And if you give us 1 hour in prime time, whether you watch America Tonight at 9, whether you watch a live news hour at 8 or 11, I think you'll see we're doing something different and something you have not seen in a very long time in television in the United States, and I think you'll be back for more. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Everybody has one of these things nowadays. We should all be reminded that typically we're asked to turn these off. Tonight I want you to turn them on, and I want you to tweet through the night. These are the stories. These are the alumni success stories that we want you to share with the world. So as you feel inspired tonight, I hope you'll do that. And as I introduce, by the way, that is hashtag Elon Top 10. Hashtag Elon Top 10, everyone. So let me bring to the podium Dr. Connie Book, the Associate Provost for Academic Affairs and Professor of Communications. Dr. Book.
Thanks, John. So tonight I have the honor of introducing Nneka Inura. And Nneka's story is a story of risk and resilience. And we can learn a lot from her. And as a matter of fact, the story I'm about to tell you, I talk about on campus because it was her courage and her risk and resilience that impacted me. When NECA was a junior, she decided to put her toe in the water and see if life in Los Angeles was for her. We had recently started a program, Elon in LA, and NECA was interested in a career in television. But this took lots of risk for her. She was from Georgia and hadn't been out to California, hadn't studied abroad. It meant that she'd have to spend some of her hard-saved money. It meant that she'd have to convince her mom and her sister that it was okay to go. And it was going to be tough, but she decided to do it. And we had a meeting before and after those conversations, and she went on her way. And she emailed me throughout the summer about what was happening, and I saved those emails, and I read them again before this presentation. So NECA's first email was, Dr. Book, I don't like it here. It's really bad traffic. I don't know anyone at my internship. It's hard, basically. And I sent back, okay, NECA, it's okay. You can do it. Talk to Jay McMurdy. Tried to resource her. And then, so I checked in regularly on her, and Jay McMurdy told me she was doing fine, and a couple of weeks later, I get another email from NECA saying, Dr. Book, I had a great day at my internship. I was in a development meeting, and we had all read a series of scripts, and this was at Fox. It was a very competitive internship, and they were going around the table and asking the interns to respond to scripts, and they liked NECA's comments. And so NECA was like, it was a great day at the internship, Dr. Book. And then I would get a few more, but the final email from NECA was, Dr. Book, I love Los Angeles. I have learned so much, met so many talented people. I'm definitely moving back to Los Angeles when I graduate. So it was, for me, the story of how opportunity and education can transform someone's life. And she came back to do her senior year on campus. And I would like to report that it was so easy. Moving out to Los Angeles was a piece of cake, but that's not how it went. And NECA lives in reality. And that's one of the things I like about her. She said, she called and she said, I'm struggling. And another alum had helped her out. And it would be several jobs before she found the one that meant the world to her to have, the one that would get her on her feet and get her started. I can promise you during those calls, she never would have thought she'd be a 10 under 10. And it's her courage that in that program that has inspired me to advocate strongly for our Study USA program. Because NECA's story also includes another R, and that is reward. And NECA pays close attention to the young people who arrive in Los Angeles, and we appreciate that very much. She greets them, she tells them her story, and she's often hired them as interns. Another Elon alum works at her organization, so she is an A-plus mentor. So NECA, on behalf of myself, congratulations. I could not be prouder of you.
Hi, everybody. So I wrote something down, and I was going to read it, but I decided just to freestyle this thing. It works best when I do that. So firstly, I want to thank the Young Alumni Association, the Young Alumni Council, and the Elon Alumni Association for this honor. And to all my fellow awardees, it's such an honor to be in the top 10 with you guys. Elon has been such a major impact on my career. You guys heard what Dr. Book said, but it goes even beyond that. From my freshman year, I was involved in residence life. I worked in the admissions office as a tour guide. My sophomore year, I got to participate in Greek life as a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And
And all of those experiences, I learned leadership skills, professionalism, how to work as a real team with different personalities, an intense schedule, my coursework. Managing all of that, it all translated to my success in Los Angeles. And one of the biggest things that I got to do, as Dr. Book mentioned, was the Elon in LA program, which she touched on it a little bit, but just to give you a little more background, I'm one of 5, the youngest girl. Everyone born and raised and stays in Georgia. No one really leaves. I went to North Carolina and they were like, whoa. So to say, I want to move clear across the country just for, a summer to try it out. And I was like, we don't have money for that. Like, how are you going to pull that off? A lot of people were in my corner, and I took full advantage of every opportunity that Elon presented to me, and I'm so grateful that I did, because here I am now. Moved out to Elon right after graduating, actually a little before graduating. I finished up a semester early and struggled for 3 long months, homeless, really, technically, jobless. It didn't seem smart at the time, and I would have done things a little differently, but, Elon, I knew I had what it took to make it. I knew I had that foundation, and I would not have had that if I hadn't gone to Elon. So I'm forever grateful, and that's why I think it's so important to be a partner, an advocate, and investor to our beloved university. And I can't give you guys enough thanks. So thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Please welcome Phil Smith, the Interim Director of Domestic Programs, to the podium. He's going to be introducing Carson Fouché. Phil?
Thank you. If everyone will smile for Carson, I will appreciate that. Great. I should have done the selfie with that, but next time. It is a joy and a privilege to stand before you tonight to introduce Carson Fouché, who I've known since first coming to Elon myself to work back in 2006. Carson was senior class president. We initially met through student government and quickly became close friends. And so to introduce Carson tonight, I want to briefly share a few of the notable things that he and I have in common. We're both natives of the state of North Carolina, Carson hailing from Statesville, just to our west. Another thing that Carson and I share is that we both come from very involved and supportive families. And so it's good to have his parents, James and Susan, his brother Jordan, and even his in-laws, his mother and father-in-law are here with us tonight, and have been supporting him even from a great distance now. Carson and I are also both huge basketball fans. At Elon, Carson quickly became one of the Phoenix biggest student fans. And it's no wonder that he helped develop and grow the Phoenix Fanatics into a vocal and vital student voice for athletics at Elon. And it's no wonder that people the likes of Dolores and John Truitt became endeared to him. I'm glad that Dolores could be here tonight as one of his special guests. Lastly, I'd like to point out on this particular day that Carson and I also share something else, and that's our graduate alma mater, Mercer University. Perhaps you've heard of it in the past 24 hours. Carson, and I say that for a reason other than the little bit of news about them, but Carson came through there some 10 years after I did, and while I do claim credit for pushing him in that direction, it is in no way because of the wonderful theological education he received there, but because that's where he met and married his beautiful wife, Laura. And if Carson were physically here tonight, he would be standing here and his smile would fill this room. Laura would be there right beside him because they're full partners sharing their life calling. And that calling has taken them on a 3-year assignment to Kanazawa, Japan, where they teach English and work with the Kanazawa International Baptist Church. And I want to close by saying I could not be any more proud of Carson. I could not be more happy for him as he receives this honor. And I could not be any more honored to introduce him to you tonight and to congratulate him on this wonderful, wonderful honor. So I present Carson Fouché.
During the summer of 2011, First Baptist Church of Elon saw me fit to be ordained by their congregation to Christian ministry. I became deeply tied to the church as a freshman and have maintained a strong relationship with them throughout the years. During the ordination service, I spoke about my spiritual journey and the challenge that lay ahead for me in ministry. Soon after I'd finished, I knelt at the front of the congregation as friends from the church and friends from throughout my lifetime came to offer words of prayer and encouragement and lay hands on me. I don't remember every specific thing said that afternoon, but I'll never forget 2 words that several said to me as they passed by. Go Elon. Since my relationship with Elon began, its people have been a part of some of my life's most important moments. As a student, I learned lessons from individuals like Dr. Jim Pace in Old Testament, Greg Zeiser in admissions, Trip Durham with the Phoenix Fanatics, and Keith DeMont on service trips for Katrina relief. 2 months after graduation, Elon friends gathered for a farewell dinner at Sal's to send me off to China on what became the first of several missional journeys across the globe. On my wedding day, Phoenix alums Jason Teagle, Garrett Gahelick, and Jason Harama stood beside me at the altar while Reverend Phil Smith co-officiated the wedding itself. At that ordination ceremony in the summer of 2011 were Reverend John and Mrs. Dolores Truitt, Dr. Earl Daniely, and Mr. Dusty and Mrs. Peggy Rhodes, dear friends from Phoenix athletic events and supporters of God's calling upon my life. You see, for me, Elon is its people. Last September, my wife Laura and I embarked on a new adventure, leaving our jobs in Georgia and following God's calling upon our lives to work alongside a church in Kanazawa, Japan. After our arrival, I posted a blog about 10 lessons I had learned in our first 10 days in the city that we'll call home for at least the next 3 years. We got plenty of likes and comments, but one that will stick out forever for me was the very first one. It came from someone that goes by the Twitter handle of @HeadPhoenix, known to everyone in the Elon community a little better as President Leo Lambert. President Lambert not only took the time to read my initial reflections of life in Japan, but wished Laura and I blessings in our adventures ahead. It's not the beautiful bricks or statistics that bind me to my alma mater under the oaks, but instead those who pass underneath the branches. May God continue to bless Elon as its people change lives in its community and communities across the globe.
Please join me in welcoming Dr. Laura Rozelle, the Professor of Political Science and Policy Studies, to the podium for her introduction of Kelsey Glover.
Good evening, everyone. I am really thrilled to congratulate Kelsey Glover as one of the top 10 under 10. Kelsey graduated in 2011 in International Studies and Communication, and already she has made her mark in Washington, D.C., directing communications for the Embassy of Afghanistan in Washington. She's just started her own consulting company and is working on issues associated with democratization in Afghanistan. She's also on the Washington Alumni Chapter Board. Kelsey wrote an honors thesis when she was at Elon, and I had the privilege of being her mentor on that honors thesis. It was on the Muslim Brotherhood, and it complemented her study abroad experience in Cairo. So she took that unique opportunity that Elon affords its students to study abroad and then come back and be able to incorporate that learning into her academic work. She also completed 2 majors. What I really admire so much about Kelsey is that she was always so calm and cool, especially under pressure. And when deadlines loomed, she was fine. And I always worried about things. So I really admire her for that, and always admired that ability of hers. And that, no doubt, is serving her well in Washington, D.C. As we were talking tonight, she said to me, I just love that pressure. I love being able to work on a deadline. I love having millions of things to do. And she does them all very well. So congratulations, Kelsey.
Good evening. Thank you to Elon, to everyone here tonight. It's such an honor just to be up, among all these amazing alumni. As Dr. Rozelle said, I can pretty much trace everything in my life right now back to starting with Elon. I was really able to, nurture and explore my love of international relations. In addition to going to Egypt, I got to go to Morocco on a service trip, and I spent a summer in London and haven't stopped traveling since. Through those connections, I was actually able to learn my first internship post-graduation in DC, and that got me to the embassy, which was a very interesting 2 years, to say the least. I don't know if you've heard about Afghanistan, but there's a lot going on. Even that just, I've actually managed to strike out on my own and really kind of further that. But what I wanted to come and say and thank Elon for was the community that, I've felt a part of here and in DC and beyond. I think Elon Day was the perfect example of that. Excuse me. And it's actually inspired me to go back to my high school in my small little rural town in Ohio and start to develop an alumni program there, because having that network and those people that you feel like you can turn to, that you have this amazing connection around this great institution, is something that they don't have. So hopefully we can emulate it on some small scale. But just thank you for this honor, and thank you for such a lovely evening.
Please welcome Dr. Jean Radigan-Rohr, the Faculty Administrative Fellow, Assistant to the President, Director of the Center for Access and Success, and Associate Professor of Education.
Good evening. It is my great, great pleasure this evening to introduce to you an amazing young woman, Sarah Gould. It is not surprising to anyone that Sarah was named to the top 10 under 10 Alumni Award. I remember teaching Sarah the first year I came to Elon. What an incredible class we had in that Teaching Diverse Learners class. In fact, many of the young people in that class have been named Teacher of the Year in states all over this country. And Sarah, I remember quite clearly Sarah's poster presentation at the end of the semester, in which she displayed in graphs and charts the inequities to educational attainment between minority students and their Caucasian peers in some of the wealthiest school districts in Connecticut. And I remember Sarah's downright indignation about issues related to funding disparities and the pedagogy of poverty. I know that at that moment, in that class, Sarah's decision about what she was going to do with the rest of her life was shaped. The reason I know this is I could see quite clearly her eyes. And when she comes up here, you'll see it. They shot like daggers. And they shot with a sort of determination that said, I am going to make a difference. So it is no surprise that Sarah ended up in Washington at a KIPP school working with minority students. I saw her recently at the Elon-Georgetown game. And as I watched her interact with a bunch of fiery black boys, I knew immediately Sarah was where she needed to be and where she wanted to be. And I'm so proud. Keep charging, Sarah. Sarah Gould.
I did write something because even though I talk to 10-year-olds all the time, talking to a room of very successful adults was quite intimidating. I am truly flattered to be recognized alongside others who are making such an impact across the country and across the world. Like, you all are literally changing the world. And considering that I go to work wearing Converse sneakers and have 30 minutes of recess every day, I'm feeling very humbled right now to be here. When I learned that I was going to have to make some remarks about how my time at Elon has shaped the person that I am, I immediately did turn to my hilariously outspoken children for some assistance. And of course, I turned it into an instructional opportunity as well. We were in the middle of our argumentative research writing, and so I very simply said, I'm going to give you a claim, and you're going to prove it. And the claim was, Ms. Gould is the most amazing reading teacher ever. So I just want to share with you some of my favorite snippets from what they said. Ashani wrote, Ms. Gould is the most amazing reading and writing teacher because she wears the most amazing outfits. Even my brother, mom, and grandmother think so. Darius said, Ms. Gould is a great teacher because she took a small group of kids on a trip to an Elon versus Georgetown basketball game. Georgetown won, but we actually met the president of Elon, so it was cool. Amaya wrote, when she talks to us, she knows where we are coming from and understands us. And Bryce said, Ms. Gould is a great literacy teacher because whenever one of her students feels like giving up, Ms. Gould keeps pushing them to keep trying and helps them through obstacles. We appreciate her being there when we need her. And honestly, I feel like I could steal Bryce's words exactly and say them about the people at Elon and the people like Dr. Rohr, because they are the ones that set me on this path that was not the path I originally intended, but ended up becoming the path that I took. And it was in Dr. Rohr's Teaching Diverse Learners class where we dove into these conversations about educational inequality and the achievement gap and how privileged we were to be at such an amazing institution of higher education. And my advisor and mentor, Dr. Long, saw that spark ignited in me and then approached me about my honors thesis and said, I'm working on this small project called the Elon Academy, and I think you might be interested in it. And it was that push to work harder than I've ever worked before for something that was not just about a grade, but was about a greater purpose. And they are the ones who truly helped me find my passion and helped me become who I am today. The experiences afforded me by my Elon education, which included studying abroad in places like London and South Africa, serving the community with Habitat for Humanity, and growing as a leader and scholar with the Honors Fellows Program and Isabella Cannon Leadership Program, forever altered my perspectives on learning, on leadership, and just on life in general. And it's for this reason that I really want to make sure that future generations, including my students who will be the class of 2025, have the same opportunities that I did. And I really just want to say thank you all so much, and this is really appreciated. Thank you.
Our next introducer is Tate Aaron with a double degree from Elon. He's the Interim Director of Alumni Engagement. Please welcome Tate Aaron.
Well, good evening. Excuse my voice. It is an absolute honor to be here tonight to honor Jennifer Heilman and to introduce many in the room to her, although many of you already know her. When I first met Jennifer, I met a woman who was clearly driven and very smart, and somebody who was absolutely committed to making a difference. And I realized that this was somebody who not only felt like she wanted to make a difference in the lives of the people around her, but she wanted to make sure that that was connected to this great university. As the president of the DC chapter, She leads the largest group of regional alums, has put on dozens of events over the last couple of years, and has had more than 2,000 people in the DC area come around together for everything from kickball games to how to buy a home as a first-time home buyer, to happy hours, which I understand are pretty popular with our alums, and beyond that, with some really smart lifelong learning events and other things that are really designed to make sure that they continue to make a difference in the lives of our alumni. She is an extraordinary human being. She is very closely connected to this university, and we are so very honored and proud to have her as a recipient of the Top 10 Under 10 Awards. Thank you so much, Jennifer Heilman, and congratulations.
Got to give me a minute here. Even though I'm on top 10 under 10, I'm starting to lose my vision here, so I get a little old. So good evening, everyone. It's really humbling to be back here at Elon this weekend, being recognized next to many of my fellow alums and friends, both while at Elon and after graduation. I remember Carson all the way back to freshman year, sitting in what I'm pretty sure was a closet in Powell, disguised as the university guide office, and I think Denard was running around at the time in admissions. And Nikki, who is my sorority sister in AZD, and then there's Sarah and Kelsey, who I didn't know while I was at Elon, but I've become really good friends with since being in DC. While I've sat here tonight listening to all of their amazing accomplishments all over the world, it really does make my job seem extremely ordinary. Let me be real with you. If any of you have seen the show Parks and Rec, that's exactly what local government is like on a daily basis. So some days the most exciting thing that happens is we found a bigger pothole to fill for the pothole patrol, or the flurry of panic right before a snowstorm when every reporter wants to come out and watch us fill up the plow truck with all the salt, and then wouldn't you know it, it rains. So we don't even get the snow. So this evening, I'm not going to talk about my professional career since graduation or an experience while at Elon, but rather I'm going to share with you what I call my post-Elon experience, which I think is just as important, if not more. I think like a lot of high school kids, I was really eager to graduate, go off to college, and move many, many miles away from mom and dad. So once I got to Elon, I fully immersed myself in classes, activities, internships, and study abroad. But before long, I was counting down the days until graduation and the real world. I think I spent my entire sophomore year figuring out how I could cram 130 credits in so I could graduate early, and then I did, much to my surprise, in December of my senior year. I was immediately offered a job in DC that started just 3 days after my last final exam before Christmas break. So there I was working in DC while all my friends were still back here at Elon for spring semester of their senior year. I don't regret my decision, but maybe I missed it a little being back here at Elon. So I had this brilliant idea at the time, or so I thought, to enroll in a part-time public affairs and journalism master's program at American University that then took away my Saturdays for the next 20 months. So that's when two things hit me. One, what did I just get myself into? And two, American University, or any school for that matter, was not Elon. It wasn't until I felt I was no longer part of the Elon community that I realized just how amazing this place really was. And that's just the thing, and it took me a really long time to see. While we might not be here physically, it's truly the people who make it the community that we love and we've known for so long. After I graduated from American, I then had a lot of newfound time on my hands since I had my Saturdays back, and I started hearing about these Elon alumni happy hours that Tate talked about. So I went to one, and then another, and then finally I decided to apply for a position on the chapter board managing social media because I thought it would look good on my resume. That was 4 years ago. So if you ask me today who my Elon friends are, I list the names of a few former roommates, all who I can count on one hand. But I'd also name the 2,400 plus Elon alumni who are part of our DC chapter. Several of these people are here with us tonight, and I didn't know a single one of them before I got to DC and started my post-Elon experience with the chapter. First as a participant in events, then as a board member, and now chapter president. It's easy to see how Elon is a partner, advocate, and investor in us as students. But it's through our strong alumni association that Elon continues that relationship through personal and professional development long after we walk across the stage, shake President Lambert's hand, and receive our oak tree sapling. And as active alumni, we get to do something extremely extraordinary that will touch many people by being a partner, advocate, and investor for Elon, both to current students and our fellow alums, whether it's giving back to our community by volunteering our time or our professional expertise, or making a gift. It's our chance to make our legacy. And here's the great thing. Our post-Elon experiences are just starting for all of us. I mean, they do call us the top 10 under 10 for a reason. And this time, it's not just for 4 years, but for a lifetime. If you haven't gotten involved with your local alumni chapter club, I'm going to get on my soapbox right now and tell you that you need to get involved, and I encourage you to leave here tonight and find a way to make your mark as a partner, advocate, or investor through your local alumni association. It's your support as alumni that's the cornerstone of our community. Elon is where we all belong, and this campus was our home away from our homes for 4 years. But without the opportunities presented to me through the Alumni Association, I can attest that my life would not be what it is after 5 p.m. There would be no homecoming caravans from DC, or playing softball in the National Mall in our maroon and gold, or celebrating the many milestones in life at weddings and the birthdays of little ones who will one day, to hopefully grow up, be the next generation of Elon graduates. Our Elon community in DC has become my home away from Elon, and I hope you can find your home, Elon home too, wherever in the world the road may take you. Thank you again for this honor.
Please greet Barth Strempek, the Associate Professor of Entrepreneurship, to the podium for the next introduction of Brian McGuire.
Thank you. I am so pleased to be up here and introduce you to Brian McGuire. When I got the call a couple weeks ago to make this introduction, I was thinking about this and I said, boy, I'm just not surprised that Brian has gotten this award. I'm just so surprised it's taken 10 years to do it. I'll tell you why. In 2002, Elon received a large grant from the U.S. Department of Education. It's called a FIPSE grant, Fund for the Improvement of Post-Secondary Education. It's one of the more prestigious educational grants that the government gives out. And the grant was to produce, to design and operate an integrated business program integrated with actually starting an entrepreneurial venture. And the students spent 2 full years, 4 terms, and 5 classes worth taking principles of management, principles of marketing, operations management, and doing a business plan and starting a real venture over those 2 years. Brian was one of the 45 brave souls who decided to volunteer for this program. And it was kind of like Star Trek. We were all going where no one had gone before. So I admire all 45 of the students that decided to take that chance and do something different, and the 2 other professors that jumped off that cliff with me, Rob Sims and Sharon Hodge. We put together 4 ventures in addition to the classes. We published a book for Chaplain McBride, which was a big success. We produced a professional CD for Jan Metzger. We started a marketing consulting venture, and Brian joined the events management venture. The events management venture was really interesting because they tried to put a major music festival on here at Elon, and we were going to do it in the stadium. I think it was the first year after the stadium had been built. And it started out with a budget of about $60,000. And as the students went through figuring out what it was really going to cost, the budget expanded to 65, then to 70. Then the grounds crew wanted us to build a certain type of stage. Then they wanted us to build a road to the stage across the field. Then they wanted us to put a generator somewhere. Then they found out a whole bunch of other things, that the stadium really couldn't hold as many as they thought it could. And the budget expanded from $65,000 to about $120,000. And the students had to cancel. They had to pull out and said this wasn't going to work. And that was a tough lesson. And Brian was one of the brave souls that decided not to go through with that. Instead, they put on some smaller events around campus, and we're very successful with it. But this kind of shows that failure as part of entrepreneurship leads eventually to success. And I just want to, before I turn it over to Brian's video, tell you, I contacted Rob Sims, who was the supervisor of the events venture, and we checked Brian's evaluation. We had an end of a program evaluation. And this is what was in the files. It's been a long time since I looked at this, but this kind of shows you why I'm not surprised Brian is here tonight, or getting this award tonight. First of all, he was a very good student overall, always there, really important thing for a business venture. Always participating and contributing, and totally reliable. In the leadership area, he was quiet, unassuming, patient in leadership. Even if not the assigned leader for a particular task or problem, he always exerted his personal influence to help the team stay focused, on schedule, and effective. He assumed the leadership role when others were ineffective or reluctant. In terms of management, he was an exceptional planner and implementer, highly flexible when focus or change was required, and very focused on managing results. Teamwork, excellent team skills, communication, giving and receiving feedback, and listening and responding. And most importantly, feedback from his team members. We want Brian on our team, and I really trust Brian. So that's why I'm not surprised that he's here tonight. And I'm so glad one of the students from this program has finally made this day, this award, in their last year of eligibility. So I'd like to introduce you to Brian McGuire.
Good evening, Elon. I am so sad I cannot be with you today in person. The 22nd of March happens to be my birthday, and I already had a trip planned with friends. I'm truly honored and humbled to be named as one of Elon's top 10 under 10 alumni recipients. I barely qualified for the criteria, as it will be 10 years this May since I graduated, but I'm glad to have made it under the radar. After leaving Elon, I've been quite busy. I've managed to go far in my career in banking. Almost right out of college, I entered into a management training program at a bank, and fast forward to today, where I head the electronic banking division of a $250 million community bank called Private Bank of Buckhead here in Atlanta, Georgia. It's been quite a journey being part of such a historic time in banking. While I could have done without the economic downturn and large-scale industry consolidation, I've enjoyed leading the launch of mobile apps and other online convenience tools that have reshaped the banking industry. Outside the bank, I've stayed very involved in the community and currently serve as the 63rd president of the Buckhead Business Association, which is a local civic organization here in Atlanta's financial district. I truly cannot imagine getting to where I am today if it were not for my time at Elon. I cannot thank my professors enough for igniting the leadership spark in me, Tina Doss, Kevin O'Mara, and all my instructors from the Elon Enterprise Academy, Barth Strimpeck, Rob Sims, Karen Hodge. Your faces and voices still remain as clear memories today, almost 10 years later. Again, thank you for this honor, and congratulations to the 9 other alumni being recognized today If you get a chance, make sure to stop by West End Station and have a drink for me. I hope to connect with all of you in the future. Good night.
I think someone's plugging a local establishment. There's a conspiracy going on here. But we now welcome Lee Bush, who's going to be coming up, Professor of Communications to the podium, Associate Professor of Communications to the podium to recognize Nicole Alum. Lee?
In the fall of 2004, I taught my very first class at Elon on public speaking, and Nicole Alum was in that class. One of the assignments was for students to hold a mock press conference where they had to defend a controversial position in front of a firing squad of reporters. Of course, Nicole did exceptionally well on this assignment, and afterwards she came up to me and she said, "You know, I think I may have found my calling." Well, indeed, she'd found part of her calling, and when she studied abroad in Denmark 2 years later, the other piece of the puzzle came together: communications and international affairs. Today, Nicole is Foreign Affairs Officer in the U.S. Department of State, specializing in public diplomacy and public affairs. There's no way in a minute I could talk about her credentials, although I noticed that none of my colleagues followed the minute timeline anyway. So I'll do what we do in this age of technology. I'll tell you her Google keywords. So if you Google Nicole, you'll find North Africa, the Middle East, Russia, human rights, disability rights, foreign policy, environment, democracy, Islam and global media, case study on Abu Ghraib, MA from Syracuse, religion and world affairs, the Moynihan Institute, cultured, beautiful, classy, a master's swimming coach, a theater nerd, a loyal friend, a cherished daughter, and last but not least, Elon proud. So I am so honored to introduce and congratulate a former student who overachieved beyond my wildest imagination, Nicole Alum.
So I thought about freestyling it, but I come from Washington and you guys don't want me to do that because it might take a while. So I will go off of my notes. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for those kind words, Professor Bush, and thank you to President Lambert and to the Young Alumni Council for this really, really great honor. It's so fantastic to be back at Elon and to see its tremendous growth since I last sat under the oaks. And I'm feeling a little nostalgic and maybe a little bit verklempt right now. So, and also thank you to Jordan Bacharach, who did a fantastic job along with her colleagues putting together this event. So thank you, Jordan, wherever you are. She's in the back. Jordan, thanks so much for everything. It's so fantastic to see so many familiar faces in the room, including faculty, staff, and my fellow honorees, who I wish to congratulate for your achievements. And it's really, really special for me to have David Douglas here, with whom I lived on first floor Sloan my freshman year. Really, yeah! We're friends on Twitter, too. Bonds that live beyond Elon. Jennifer, my sister from Alpha Zeta Delta, and Carson, who I wish I could see and give a squeeze because we completed many a trust fall together during Resident Student Association retreats. So really great to see the three of them, and I hope to meet the rest of you this evening as well. I'm also grateful and, of course, humbled to be here with you, but I'm really, really happy that everybody took a break from March Madness to join us, so thank you. We're really glad you're here. Go Syracuse, that's where I went to grad school. Sorry. Ooh. I'm really grateful to be joined by treasured family and friends tonight. My parents, Dennis and Deborah Alum. Thank you so much for coming from Ohio tonight. My fellow Elon alumna and Alpha Zeta Delta sisters, Lindsay, Lori, Jackie, Kate, and Erin, and Kim Poe's here too. And my former roommate, Nisha, who came all the way from New York City to learn what this whole Elon University thing was about. So we're really glad to have you here. And thanks so much for sharing in the evening. It really means the world. It was a true honor that Professor Lee Bush agreed to give my introduction tonight. Not only was she my first communications instructor at Elon, but throughout the years, she's become a mentor, sounding board, and friend. So thank you so much. Not many people know that I originally came to Elon as a broadcast journalism major. David might remember that. That's right, before I dreamed of becoming the next Leslie Knope, fellow Parks and Rec fan over there. I wanted to be Barbara Walters. That's really what I thought I wanted to do, seriously. But after taking Lee's public speaking course and learning more about her career in public relations, I decided that I wanted to follow in her footsteps. I loved the idea of using strategic communications to solve problems and crises, and I knew that's where I wanted to be, especially after that. I think Ford was my, yeah, that's great. I'm so glad that I made that decision, and now I'm using the skills I learned from Lee and other esteemed School of Communications faculty in my public diplomacy work on behalf of the United States, so I'm really grateful for that. I got my first taste of real-world communications at Elon. Lee encouraged me to apply for the inaugural staff of Elon's Live Oak Communications, which is a student-run public relations firm. It was one of the most rewarding and challenging real-world experiences during my time here. We had real clients, real problems to tackle, and real campaigns to run. My fellow staffers and I remain connected to this day, and we cheer each other on as we advance professionally. It's really special. And being so invested in Live Oak from the beginning taught me the value of faculty advisors and mentors, and that's why I am committed to mentoring students interested in communications and foreign policy. It's my favorite way of giving back to the Elon community. I really enjoy speaking with current Live Oak staffers. They're really impressive. They have it way better figured out than I did when I was their age, so they're top notch. And I really love speaking on panels and to classes, so call me if you need me. I love doing conference calls with current Elon students too, just squeezing people into the day when you can. I think that they really appreciate it, and I really appreciate learning how fantastic the people are that are currently at school here, so look forward to giving back more in that way. I'm helping the next generation of Elon grads and hope that they're going to go ahead and pay that forward in the future, because I know that each of us had that opportunity with people who came before us at Elon. So I hope that they continue to pay it forward as well. None of this would have been possible without my parents, who laid the foundation and taught me to be a tough, independent, and resilient person, and I'm really grateful. Don't cry. Thank you to them and to all of you who played a role in my time here at Elon. And as President Lambert has often said, you may leave Elon, but Elon will never leave you. And 5 years later, those words still ring true. Thank you so much for this honor.
So before I turn it over to Jennifer, who's going to do the closing, we have a special guest that's here tonight. And I need you to know that I feel as though Elon got stronger tonight. Do you all feel it? Elon became a stronger network. Our relationships were deepened. And I think the word alumni means something different at Elon now. And one of the main reasons that I think that the word Elon means something, the word alumni means something different at Elon is because Dr. Lambert has made a commitment to us as alums to make sure that all of us have these experiences that have ripple effects across the country and the world. So please welcome Dr. Leo Lambert, who's going to be offering some congratulatory remarks. Dr. Lambert.
kids at the Georgetown game actually thought they were going to meet Barack Obama. So imagine how disappointed they were when I walked into their box. I want to congratulate Nicole, Mark, David, Nneka, Carson, Kelsey, Sarah, Jennifer, Brian, and Jay. Wow, what an evening. And I think all of us feel tremendously inspired about the place that we work at and the work that we do here, listening to your stories tonight and hearing of your achievements. We're so proud of you. Your work is impressive. Your lives are impressive. Let's have one more round of applause for all of our honorees. As I was sitting up here and reflecting on all of these stories, you can't help but be surrounded by the big idea that this is our 125th anniversary celebration, and to think about what a remarkable institution Elon truly is. And you've heard many times tonight, and we've met with the Young Alumni Council today and the Alumni Executive Board last evening. You always hear, inevitably, when you have alumni back on campus, my goodness, the place has changed. But in the most important way, it hasn't changed at all. We're going to be, in a couple of weeks, celebrating President Earl Danieli at the Convocation for Honors. And Earl graduated from this school in 1946. And I happen to know, probably most people don't know this, he really struggled here as a student. He struggled here as a history major, and then he tried math, and he wasn't good at that. And then he dropped out of school for a while, got a job with the Soil Conservation Corps, and decided he was going to take a full-time job with the Soil Conservation Corps. But Mama said, "You are going back to Elon." And he followed Mama's direction and came back and discovered chemistry. And because of a mentor in the chemistry department, and because of his mother's direction, his life was transformed. And I think your stories tonight and Earl's story as an Elon student point to what's really important about this university. And it's about the transforming human relationships that result between faculty and staff and students at Elon. Those moments where Sarah discovers that her path is changed and she is committed to helping young kids who don't have resources that all kids should have. And a faculty member who decides, I am going to work with you on the 90th draft of this thesis, and we are going to make it great. And I am going to work with you on every aspect of your writing and your critical thinking, and we're going to turn this into you're going to produce a work that you're really going to be proud of. And in so many other kinds of interactions, this is the heart of Elon. This is what Elon is all about. And so while we've gotten a little bit bigger, and certainly the physical plant has changed, the heart of this university, the heart and soul of this university, is about its people. It's about you. It's about a commitment that we share as a body, as a student body, as faculty and staff, to prepare people to go out into the world and do incredibly good work that the world badly needs right now. And to our 10 under 10 winners, you exemplify that spirit tonight. We're so proud of you. Thank you for coming back to campus and reminding us about what we do and why we do it. I wish all of our alumni could be in this room tonight and receive the same kind of dose of inspiration that I have. You've heard me say many times, but I'll say it one more because I believe it so firmly to be true. Elon's reputation in the future rests on you. It doesn't rest on me. it doesn't rest on new programs that we're going to found here or new buildings that we're going to build. You can take a university so far on those kinds of accomplishments and achievements. But where we're going as a national university, our reputation rests on the accomplishments of our alumni body. And when you sit here tonight, as I did, and listen to your stories and what you have achieved in less than 10 years out of school upon graduation from your alma mater, I can't help but be 100% confident, 1,000% confident that this university's national and international reputation is going to continue to soar because of what the people in this room do, what the people on this campus do, what this alumni body is going to accomplish as it gets bigger and stronger and better every year. So congratulations to everybody. What an evening. Long live Elon.